How's off season gone? I know you guys were very, very busy, especially in July, the New Mexico games. Talk about July and what you guys were up to.
In July we were fortunate enough to have a good group of girls participating and getting out there and playing some games and getting into workouts and just giving them the opportunity to get out there and get better. And so I think for the majority of those girls, they made it a point to try to get better. They really did, and so I appreciate that.
The New Mexico games, how was that experience, do you feel like? I mean, do you think the girls learned a lot from that experience?
Yeah, I think we did. We were fortunate enough to go to Moriarty and play in a bronze bracket championship game. And then we played in the gold bracket championship game in New Mexico games. And regardless if it's gold, silver, bronze, whatnot, it's a championship game. And championship game experiences are very vital and very important, regardless of what like I said, bronze, gold, whatever it is. We ended up playing Bosque Prep. If you know anything about Bosque Prep and the kind of girls that they have, that was a very good game for us. We ended up splitting with them 2-2, but nonetheless, they handled us in the championship game. And then we ended up playing in the gold bracket championship game against Santa Fe, which is, of course, a new member in Class 6A in volleyball from up north. And they were very, very salty team, very skilled. We gave them a fight, and we tugged at it, and sometimes you just don't come up on the winning end, but it wasn't, like I said, for lack of effort or team unity. We played the best we could considering the situation.
How was it? Was it good to see some of the northern teams when you had a chance to go up there?
Just different teams. I think it's nice. It's always nice to see just different squads, and sometimes these girls, our girls in particular, you see them, they play these teams, and half of them, literally half the teams, more than half the teams we play, our girls are like, where's that at? What school is that? Where are they from? Is that Texas? So we played quite a few different teams, and that's always good. That's always good. Northern New Mexico has a lot of very, very good 4A teams, 5A teams now. But you'd be shocked at some of the talent that is out there in some of these small, quote unquote, smaller schools. But you'd be surprised.
Yeah, they're not that much smaller, and they're certainly not that much smaller than Alamogordo.
No, not at all.
Right now.
And then you look at, if you didn't look at the name on the shirt, wow, you would think, wow, what a player. They've got some really good, talented players.
Last year, non-district, you guys played very, very well.
Yes.
Districts obviously didn't go quite the way that you guys wanted to. What did you see the difference was? Was it just credit to the competition that you guys saw in district, or what do you think was the change between non-district and district for you guys last year?
I thought the district we rated from the previous year to last year, so 2 years ago, and our games were closer. You say you're competitive. You're always competitive to a sense, but we were playing games in the 21s and the 22s versus the year before we were in 15, 16, and 17 and kind of running out of gas. Last year we played into the 21s, 22s a lot, and we lost about 4 or 5 separate matches in the 25, 27 range, 24, 26 range. One of them even went to 30, 32, I think, at one of the games. We were more competitive. It's just, sometimes it's the 6'2" jump setters and 6'2" setters in the front that usually created a problem for us, and some height at the net. Learning experience, but we learned how to play it. It was tough. It just got tough at times. That's all.
And you talked about, you said running out of gas. I know just from watching a little bit of the practices, you guys working very, very hard on conditioning. That seemed to be one of the big things you were pushing, that you want the girls to have that energy at the end of the match.
Yeah, and they get after it. Well, you were in practice the other day, kind of slipping in here and there, and we get after the girls. And I tell you what, I'm one sore coach after the night, because it's just a constant energy that we're trying to get out there, and our girls have really adapted well to maintaining throughout practice and not just the beginning. And I think that's really key. That's really key.
And you mentioned being sore. Coach Gettler is up on one of the stands and is spiking the ball at the girls, and we're talking, in a set, 30 or 40 times. So working out that shoulder and getting that all.
Yeah, and I'll put up 120 to 150 across the net, and some are rolls, some are tips, but for the most part, I'm trying to get to the floor with a ball before they can touch it. And so some of those girls get tagged a little bit, but they seem to enjoy the challenge. You don't see girls ducking.
Yeah.
You don't see them. You were there that day. You don't see them ducking out of the way. They challenge themselves. They get in front of that ball, and so they try to make it a point to save a ball is what it is. Just never let a ball die. It's kind of that whole thinking.
Talk about, how would you characterize this group, maybe compared to the last two teams, maybe the strengths, or what do you like about this team heading into the season?
I think, like I said, obviously the experience at the setting position. We have better depth in regards to frontline support on the net. I think overall, we're probably a better passing team overall. When you get a combination of those three things, you got experience, you got some frontline support, and you got depth at the setter, and overall better passing. I think that bodes well for a productive season. At the end of the day, it's got to come all together. You can't just hope for one piece. It's got to come together.
Yeah.
It's any sport.
Yeah, well, and especially the way the free-flowingness of volleyball, everybody's got to be working together.
Yeah, it really does.
Well, let's talk about the team. Let's talk about you mentioned your front line, defensively, offensively. Who are the ladies you expect to be important parts of your team this year?
Well, you know what? I have kind of a grin on my face now because we have Rylan Lettingham on the outside who finally is healthy. She hasn't been healthy in a long time, and she was one of those frontline players last year. She's deceptively quick at the net in regards to putting the ball down. And you look at her and you wouldn't think outside hitter. But, she's really good with the tempo sets. So she's really good at quicker sets, whether it be like a 3-ball set that's not as quite as high as, high outsides. But we try to beat blocks before they get up. We're not trying to go over them. The difference this year is, like I said, we have some girls. We have a Rebecca Sparks who at the New Mexico games. She just jumped over people. And when you're jumping over people, your blocks struggle and your backline struggles, and in turn your offense struggles. She adds that depth on the back coming through rotation that's just going to make us so much more balanced and scoring all the way around versus the front side when it's just tempo and then Kristen with those slides and whatnot. And so that's the biggest difference with Kristen's going to do what Kristen does. She's gonna knock the snot out of the ball every time she gets a chance. There's not much finesse in her game,
Kristen Archuleta.
Yeah, Kristen Archuleta. Not much finesse in that junior. I mean, she just wants to pound the snot out of that ball. And actually we have two pleasant surprises, believe it or not. I mean, I told you about Rebecca just really being dominant and jumping over people. Diamond in the rough with her. Saw some glimpse of it on JV last year and some spots on varsity, but a diamond in the rough, no doubt. But really there's two other girls, Sierra Gentry and Chenault. Sierra Chenault and Sierra Gentry, get that right. Just two pleasant additions in regards to making strides in the speed of the game and the concept of how we run our offense and whatnot. Just really has added so much more depth to the front line, and without losing any passing with Gentry, and just picking up on better quick sets and blocking with Sierra Chenault. So I was very pleasantly surprised on that. I have a big old grin on my face because I can see, I saw this unfolding for quite some time, but you got to really just get it out there and kind of see it go. And there's times in practice this summer already, I've kind of just caught myself kind of chuckling a little bit and being like, that was nice. That was just nice what they just did.
Who are you expecting to step up on the back end defensively, setting wise? Who are going to be the ladies? I know Taylor Holmes is certainly going to be a big part of what you're doing this year too.
Yeah,
right?
Once she gets a little more mobility back, she's coming off a really bad ankle sprain, and it's hurt her mobility. But she's such a crafty setter too, so she knows how to utilize that movement to where she doesn't have to put too much strain on that ankle as it is. And we're really going to look for the 5-1 is what we really want to run through it. But we have Rachel Precure, who's more than capable of coming in and doing that little, coming from the backside set if we have to. Gentry's improved her hands a ton. And we actually have kind of our libero, AJ, who does a heck of a job on any kind of shank balls. She can get them up in sets as well. So we got really 4 capable sets of hands that can get a ball, save a ball, so we can get a rip on a ball. But at the end of the day, 90% of our sets are going to go through Taylor Holmes.
Who do you expect to be your leaders this year? Who do you expect to be the leaders on the court for you?
You know what? Just collectively, we got just a tight group of girls. You expect your seniors to be leaders, but that isn't always the case. Some of them are just maybe internal leaders, not maybe as vocal as they need to be, or you'd like them to be. But I think girls that have kind of fit the role of being leaders, you have AJ in the back line who's really just taking command of the back line. She keeps people under control and she keeps them calm and keeps them going. Our front line, I thought Sierra Gentry and Taylor Holmes have done a good job of keeping people in tune, playing with passion, practicing hard. They're not doing it in games per se. They're there playing obviously, but it's practice is when they're doing all that leadership stuff, and that's key. You can't just turn on the game and say, hey, follow me. They're doing it in practice, and I think that's key.
How do you feel, non-district's obviously going to be a lot different this year. You're going to be playing some of the Cruces schools in non-district as compared to playing them in district. What are you looking for out of your non-district season this year? Because you will see a few different teams in that mix than you have in previous seasons.
Yeah, I think the biggest difference is we're not going to see them twice.
Yeah.
And so, we open up at Mayfield, which, obviously the district down south with the Cruces district, we never opened up against any of those teams. We usually didn't see them until mid-September at the invite, Cruces invite. So it's going to be, we'll see a combination of, like I said, we open with Mayfield, we'll see Chaparral, Santa Teresa, we get Roswell, which is different, very, very talented athletic team. So we'll get to see some different teams like that, and that's always nice. We go to the Sweet 16, and we're in pool play with Gadsden, Mayfield, and Los Lunas, which is a very deep pool play right there. I mean, that right there is just deep. So we're going to get a lot of good pool play experience there. Depending how we finish, if we're in a gold bracket, silver bracket, whatever bracket we're in, some of those other brackets are, they got some really solid teams in there. So regardless of what bracket, we're going to play some different teams and some good teams.
Let's talk about this district this year. You're very familiar with Hobbs and Carlsbad. I don't think you guys played Clovis the last couple of years, but how are you looking at this district competition-wise? Is this a district you feel like that this team can compete in?
Yeah, I think competition-wise, we have, like I said, the same kind of dynamic, smaller towns who, a lot of the kids play all the different sports, and nonetheless, it's a district we match up well in, and I think that's the key, the matchups. Like I said, I thought we did well in the other Cruces district, but our matchups were just the size difference and the year-round volleyball playing experience was a huge factor. I think in this district, we're very comparable to the teams we play. And I just think the size matchups, too, are very similar to us. And so, you look forward to the different competition, and we've had success in the past against the teams in that district. So I think our kids are confident in the ability of going out there and saying, we can make something happen here.
Expectations for this team this year. What are you looking for out of this group?
Well, my kids already told me what we're going to do and what they have planned on doing, and that they have every intentions of winning our district regular season, and they have every intentions of playing for a district championship on our home floor. And if they believe that, and they go in and practice every day and they prove it, that that's what they want, I'm not going to stop them, and I sure as heck ain't going to convince them otherwise. And so we're just going to go with what they truly believe. And if that's what they believe in, then that's what we're going to accomplish.
I see a district championship on that shiny new court, wouldn't it?
I tell you what, they're going to give every effort and they understand that from the team concept is how it's going to get done. They really understand that, and they've believed it since, it's been a while, but June 3rd is when they talked about it. They didn't click it on the other day when tryouts were done. They've clicked it on over the summer and understood that common goal. Regardless, we'll sacrifice whatever it takes to get to where we want to go.